Good morning. Hi, my name is Josiah Hostetler, and I'm so happy to be here with you. If you could please make sure your phones are on airplane mode or off the Wi-Fi. That helps with bandwidth in the meeting house for those joining on Zoom. That said, we welcome our Zoom attendees for participation throughout the meeting for worship. If you could please stand in body or spirit, we'll sing our first song together, Worship and Song 54, O Come, Emmanuel. Well, I was reading Phil's Christmas message, and it got me to thinking about what the experience of the Holy Family was in Egypt. So I went first to the Bible and then online. So first I'll be reading from Matthew 2:13 through 15. Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I bring you word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod. that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, out of Egypt I call my son. Well, that wasn't very long and really didn't tell the story of the family in Egypt. And so I searched online and came across a few stories. So the Holy Family became refugees in Egypt, and according to the stories passed from generation to generation in the Coptic Church, the family had to move up and down the Nile so that Joseph could find jobs and that they could find shelter, even living in a cave for several months at one point. One town that they sought shelter would give them none, and according to the stories, Jesus is said to have cursed that very spot where the ground is barren to this day and nothing will grow. We'll have a time of community sharing, and first we will share with those that are on Zoom for any announcements for the meeting. I see Teresa.
Hi everyone, this is Teresa, and I'm the Family Promise Coordinator for meals. Our group provides meals for those who are living in the homeless shelter and those who go to the resource center, and that we do both. We stock. We have a schedule that is posted on the way to the kitchen, but we currently have one volunteer. Sue Walton has said that she would like to team up with someone. So if anybody would like to team up, she is available for Thursday or Saturday. We have someone already for Friday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but we still have some slots to fill in if anybody would like to prepare a meal and share it for those in our community who are overcoming the homeless situation through our Family Promise program. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you for Teresa for your organization for that. Any other announcements on Zoom?
Yes. This is Ellen Blacketer, and I want to remind everyone of our cookie exchange next Sunday. If you'd like to participate, simply bring 3 dozen cookies and an empty container, and you can fill it with a wide variety of holiday cookies. Be sure and meet in the kitchen immediately after worship so we can begin the exchange. We will do that around the kitchen island. If you have any questions, just check with me or Dinah Geiger. Thank you.
Any other announcements on Zoom? If not, we'll move to the meeting house.
Hi, I'm Laura Day, and I'm pleased to announce we've firmed up all the plans for the Civil Rights Pilgrimage in Alabama. And one of the things I'm really excited about is we have booked a tour group for a tour company for a 3-hour guided tour, and the tour leader will be someone who participated in the Bloody Sunday March in the 60s. And afterwards we'll have a catered lunch, and we'll have another person that was also participating in that. And then we'll see lots of sights in Montgomery and Selma, and in Birmingham on the way back we will go to a church service at 16th Street Baptist Church. I know this is a really busy time of year, but I really kind of need to know if you've got a 75% inkling that you're going to go on this trip. Everything's been reserved, but I do need to let the tour leaders know and the lady who's catering the lunch. I need to give them a rough estimate. Everything is in the December newsletter, my contact information, all that, and estimates of prices and how to book your motel room. So I hope we'll have a good turnout. I think it'll be a very meaningful trip, and we will have a couple of programs here at the Meeting House and on Zoom about pilgrimages and reconciliation leading up to this. Thanks a lot.
Hi, I'm Anita Kamek. I just wanted to mention very quickly that if you missed the composting program presentation, was it just last weekend, I think, and you do want to participate and didn't get a green bucket, just let me know. And I have several more green buckets left to hand out for anybody who wants to participate. Thanks.
Good morning. This is Becky Horton from Outreach. Just a reminder that the last collection for Cords of Love will be next Sunday, the 15th. And the items that are needed are toilet paper, dish soap, vegetable oil, paper towels, soups, canned vegetables, laundry soap, coffee, and fruit juices.
And I want to tag on to what Becky said real quick. If you brought items for Cords of Love, right now we're collecting them under the dessert table for the pitch-in. They were on the dessert table, but we've got lots of desserts for the pitch-in. So we needed that space. So under the dessert table is where you can store your items. Next.
Thank you for the lead in there. I just wanted to remind everybody, half of you have been in the kitchen already, but anybody who might have forgotten, this is our December pitch-in, Christmas pitch-in. There's plenty of food. If you did forget, come anyway, because there is plenty of food. So right after worship.
Well, I was led to believe that it was a formal pitch-in. The reason I am dressed up in an unquakerly manner is because my band has a concert this afternoon. It starts at 3 o'clock, and it is at Cascade High School, which is west of Plainfield. Why we're playing there, I don't know. Maybe the Palladium was booked. I don't know. But if you would like, some nice, cheery Christmas music, please come. You're invited.
Hi, I just wanted to mention that on the 21st, the USFW dinner now this year lunch will be at Coachman, and please let Carol know. And if you have an idea about what you want for lunch, that would be very helpful. Thanks so much.
You'll please join me for a moment of prayer. O God, we see your light in the faces of others. And just in time for this season of less light in the evening, we bring in the joy of your birth, of your safety, and of your concern. We hold in the light all of those that are experiencing hardship at this time of year, and that we see to their needs as a meeting. We act in your name and give what we can, also knowing that there are those around the world that need space for peace and for love. May we show that in our daily lives. Amen.
Our last election, I know we came here kind of dejected, but you missed something important. You might have missed something important. we had a victory on Election Day. Alyssa Impink. Stand up, Alyssa, so everyone will know. Is now a school board member at Indianapolis Public Schools. So we are proud of you. This is how Richard Lugar got started. Indianapolis School Board, mayor, senator, tried the presidency, didn't make it. My money's on you. Friends, as part of our celebration as a community, we gather food for those who aren't as fortunate as we ourselves, so we'll do that now. We need some strong volunteers, and we can gather food. Well, Laura Day, that's such a wonderful thing you're doing, arranging for a trip to the civil rights sites in Alabama. That is laudable. I'll be in North Carolina that weekend doing my niece's wedding. I'd rather be in Alabama. Although I love my niece, I can see her anytime. Oh my, and when you said, I confess, I feel bad saying this, but when you said Birmingham, Alabama, I didn't think of all the civil rights sites. I thought of the Barber Motorcycle Museum, and which, if you're gonna be in Birmingham and have an extra hour or two, it's well worth seeing. It's quite neat. Well, I've been thinking this week about Georgie Baker, who last week, you'll remember on Zoom, shared the happy news that she was wrapping up her degree in social work. And it got me thinking about when I first met Georgie. She was 2 years old when we first met, and she would come to meeting with her grandparents, Ralph and Jan. And when the other children went to children's church, she would stay behind in the meeting room and take notes. Very precocious young woman. And when she wasn't here, she acted in plays and went to school, and now she wants to be a therapist, so has been taking classes, working hard to join that noble profession. I'm very proud of her. It's not easy figuring out what you want to be. And sometimes it's even harder to figure out who you want to be, the kind of person you want to be. We've been talking about the do's and don'ts during times of social change. When a nation is at a pivotal moment, figuring out who we will be as citizens of that nation is an ongoing task. When we were in our 20s, our late teens, we had to think about what we would be. We had to discover our vocation. In his book, Wishful Thinking, Frederick Buechner said, "The work God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness meets the world's deep hunger." And while that helps us discern what we will be, we must also think about who we will be, no matter our age, and live in light of who we are, what we believe, and what we value. When we fail to do that, when we forget who we are, we risk becoming what we pledged never to become. Often when we talk about what we want to be, when we speak of our vocations, we use the language of intentionality. I have decided to be a lawyer. I have decided to be a pastor. Georgie decided to be a therapist. Others have chosen, decided to be teachers, attorneys, accountants. There is an intentional choice involved. In fact, if someone tries to make that choice for us, we get our backs up. My mother always wanted me to be an attorney, and she would say, "You need to be an attorney." And I finally told her, "It's my life, and I will decide what to do with it. It's my choice." We don't like anyone telling us what we must do with our lives. That's up to us. But curiously, when we begin to think about who we are, we often use the language of inevitability, as if we had no choice in the matter, that we are who we are because of the way we were raised, or where we grew up, or who our parents were and how they treated us. We start believing that who we are is a consequence of outside forces imposed upon us that remain beyond our control, as if who we are is inevitable, predictable, and therefore irreversible. When we believe that, when we convince ourselves that who we are isn't something we control, we give ourselves permission to behave terribly. The famous defense at the Nuremberg trials by the Germans who'd committed atrocities was, "I was just following orders." As if they were powerless at every point to stop what they were doing, as if they were unable to say, "I will not do that," as if circumstances beyond their control compelled them to commit gross and vile evil against others. Knowing who we are provides a moral framework for our lives. There are simply things we will not do because they are inconsistent with who we are. In 1651, the founder of Quakerism, George Fox, was hauled before the authorities for refusing military service. Writing of that experience, he said, "I told them I lived in the virtue of that life and power that took away the occasion of all wars." This is what it means to know who you are, to know what you believe, and to live within the life and power of your moral code. I'm reminding us of this because there is rising hatred in our nation, and each of us will need to decide who we are and how we will conduct ourselves. Because if we don't tell the world who we are, the world will tell us who it wants us to be. After a while, we might even start believing we had no choice in the matter, but we always have a choice. We are not blank slates upon which anything can be written. We are not cogs in a vast machine. We are Quakers with a moral code informed by 375 years of decency and justice. We know who we are, we know what we believe, and we are determined to live within the boundaries of our moral code. We decide who we will be, and no one else, not our bosses, not our co-workers, not our neighbors, not our childhood friends, not our family members, not a social media influencer, podcaster, radio personality, nor some amoral billionaire who grew fat and sassy at the public trough. We decide who we will be, and no one else. Refuse to be impressed by those whose only accomplishment in life is the accumulation of wealth and power. Refuse to grant them your obedience or approval. Refuse to give them control of your conscience. Refuse to sell for pennies on the dollar the priceless wealth of your integrity. I think about this now and with some embarrassment and even hesitation to share it with you. But about 15 or so years ago, I was invited to an event in downtown Indianapolis. A friend of mine was going. He asked if I wanted to go, and so I went. And when I arrived, I found myself seated next to a billionaire. First and only one I've ever met. And there he was. And I started sucking up to him like you would not believe, agreeing with everything he said, exaggerating my accomplishments, hoping to impress him. Within 90 seconds, I had become the Eddie Haskell of that event. Yes, sir, Mr. Billionaire. No, sir, Mr. Billionaire. You're so wise, Mr. Billionaire. I was making myself so sick, I wanted to throw up on me. That's how bad it was. Driving home, I began to feel really smarmy. And I began thinking about the evening and how I had conducted myself. And I realized that that evening at the table where I was seated, there were 6 other people besides the billionaire and myself. And I hadn't made the slightest effort to get to know them. I didn't ask them their names. I wasn't interested in their thoughts. I didn't ask about their families or what they did or where they lived. They were non-entities to me. I walked into that room with a clear understanding of who I was and what was important to me. And I pitched it aside just like that. I found out later that one of the folks at the table had founded a feeding initiative that had saved millions of people all around the world from starvation. That he had founded it and saved millions of lives. And I didn't learn the first thing about that man because I was too busy forgetting who I was. We decide who we will be and no one else. We decide who we will emulate and no one else. We decide who will inspire us, what will motivate us, and what we will value, and no one else. Refuse to sell for pennies on the dollar the priceless wealth of your integrity.
That who we are is who we're becoming. It occurs to me that who we are is who we are becoming. And I'd say, Phil, don't, beat up on yourself, because we wouldn't have known anything about that situation had you not shared it. And since then, learning about the other person, what I hear is that everything about that experience and you and your transparency before us, everything is composted. Anita, you need to give him a green bucket. Everything is used. It's a lesson. And everyone in that at that table, including you and the billionaire, and the people who maybe didn't do anything, everyone is valuable. And the retelling, you got a great cud, you little cow, you. What you share nourishes us.
Phil, thank you for that story. I hope you don't beat up on yourself too much over that. I venture to say that the billionaire did not ask anybody at the table about what they did. And I venture to say that the billionaire did not have a profound revelation into their character after the meeting.
I agree with the notion of our being is our becoming. One of the greatest resources we have at being a human being is the ability to keep on learning and growing. It seems we forget that a lot. I hear an awful lot of conversation, I've been hearing it for decades, about how helpless we are as a society. We're not. If you've tried things before and they haven't worked, well, look for something different. If we use our creative powers, we can imagine and create a new and better society. But we're going to need to link arms to do it, and we're going to need to think in open-minded terms about our own change and growth, and give some serious thought to what kind of a society we want to be and how we can make that happen.
just want to share that earlier in the week, I was feeling kind of crummy. You know, just sort of felt like the tidal wave of everything pouring down, the state of affairs of the world, some interactions personally that I'd had that were just not uplifting at all. And it just never ceases to amaze me how I come to this meeting and I always seem to get what I need when I need it. And I just appreciate that so much.
All hearts are clear. We'll sing together in worship and song 178, Precious Lord, Take My Hand.
Friends, own your life. Own your life. Accept responsibility for who you are, and let no one else dictate to you who you should be. Rather, let that sense emerge deeply from your soul and be faithful to it. That is how God leads. Turn and greet friends.